Welcome to the next presentation here at ABG Sundal Collier Investor Day. My name is Edvard Hagman. I'm an equity analyst here at ABG. And with me today, I have Sonny Myrborn, CEO of Alcadon Group. And he's going to tell you more about the structural trends in the market for network infrastructure. So please go ahead, Sonny. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Well, as mentioned, my name is Sonny Myrborn. I'm the CEO of Alcadon Group since about a year now. Alcadon Group develops and distributes systems and products for network infrastructure, professional network infrastructure. We offer both copper and fiber-based systems, active and passive products. Most of the time, you don't come across our products very often. You'll find them behind the walls of offices, hospitals, schools. You'll find them in data centers. You'll find them beneath ground, linking together cities and properties. You could say that our products enable IoT, or Internet of Things, smart homes, smart properties, smart factories. And I'll hope to show you today that Alcadon Group is an interesting company to follow when you look at these megatrends in society. From the beginning, looking in our history, we have had a prominent, strong position in all major technological shifts in our industry in the marketplace. We were present during the 4G rollout, the fiber rollout of the 90s. We have had and still have a prominent position in the FTTH rollout in the Nordics today. We've been present in the data center sector for many years, and we have taken part of the initial 5G rollout that has just started in Sweden and Norway today. I think also that to truly understand Alcadon, you need to look at the acquisitions that we made the last few years. In 2017 and 18, we acquired three companies in Sweden and Norway. These were made with an obvious industrial logic. We added cost synergies, cross-selling synergies. We extended our geographical presence in the Nordics. We also got new business areas highly related to our core competence. Last year, in 2019, we went through a restructuring phase. I assumed office together with our new CFO. We launched an efficiency program where we managed to reduce cost with about 8 million SEK on an annual basis. We implemented a new management structure with a new group management team. So we're taking it to the next step, Alcadon Group. Today we have a Nordic footprint. We're well established throughout Sweden and Norway. We also have distributors in Finland and Denmark, working primarily with our own developed systems. But as you can see, most of our turnover today is derived from the Swedish market, even though we are experiencing quite high growth rates in Norway as well. Today we conduct our business in 4 major business areas, all related to professional network infrastructure and highly related to each other. Business area commercial is our largest one, and this is the core business of Alcadon since many years back. Our end customers here are data centers, industry, hospitals, schools, offices, all types of properties, and most of all commercial properties. We offer a complete comprehensive portfolio of systems, both copper and fiber-based. A very important part here is ECS, our own developed system, European cabling systems, which is very important for us. Our second largest business area is fiber networks, or FTTX, where the X denominates where the fiber eventually ends up. Our customers here are mostly energy companies, operators, city networks. We offer a complete portfolio here of products for a fiber rollout. It doesn't matter if it's 4G, 5G, or FTTH. This is also the business area that is going to be affected the most from a 5G rollout in the future as well. Our business area residential That's quite new to us. It was formed due to two of our largest acquisitions that we made in Norway and Sweden in 17 and 18. It's a rather small business area still. It's growing quite rapidly for us. We have a very small market share, but a very interesting portfolio of products and systems. So we expect to continue to grow here a lot in the future as well. What we offer here is a complete system for data and electricity in a residential property or in a home. And this enables a connected home or as you say, a smart and safe home. Important here is not only ECS, our own system, but also DC line, which is also our own developed system that is specifically made for residential properties. Our smallest business area, services and training, very important for us for brand building purposes. We offer certification courses in ECS to installers. About 4,000 installers today across the Nordics have paid to go through a certification course with Alcadon and are certified to install ECS. We also offer rental of equipment and other things. An important but small business area for us. Now, in terms of Alcadon's offer, everything we do is done to be perceived in the marketplace as a competence center within professional network infrastructure. I think that most of the players in the market perceive us as a premium quality supplier, and this is very important for us. We have also shown over time that we have been flexible and agile in adapting to new technological shifts, thus being able to be part of 4G, 3G, 5G, FTTH, all these technological shifts. The most important part of our offering, however, is our in-house development. More than 10% of our staff today works with product management or product development. They focus on ECS, DC line, and putting together concepts for data centers, 5G, and specific customer segments. Very important for us. Our business model, it has not changed much over the years. Everything we do is to remain a competence center in what we do. Our in-house developed systems today constitutes about 31% of our turnover. They are extremely important for us to exhibit a certain type of uniqueness in the market, to have something special, something market adapted to show to our customers. Very popular systems today in Sweden and Norway. We focus on the product development phase and the distribution and sales phase. We do not have our own manufacturing facility. As it looks today, the market for production and manufacturing of these type of products is highly competitive on a global basis. So there's really no need as to why we should tie up capital in a manufacturing facility. It's much better that we focus on the development of the products and the sales. We combine these systems with distribution, where we represent globally world-leading players in our field on our respective markets. This gives us a certain type of flexibility as these players invest millions of euros every year in R&D to have top-of-the-line products. When they do that, we make sure that we don't miss out on a technological shift in any of our market segments. So we have a number of partners here that we worked closely with for over 10 or 20 years. So this is a great way of combining flexibility and uniqueness for us. On the customer side, most of our customers are small to mid-sized installers. Here you have some examples of our customers, of our more well-known customers today. But as I said, we have a lot of customers. Most of them are small to mid-sized installers. Today, 2,800 active customers who purchase from us on a regular basis and have done so for, in many cases, more than 15, 20 years. So it's a rather loyal, fragmented customer base, you could say. But we also sell to operators, data centers, property developers, energy companies, city networks. We have quite a wide portfolio of customers. Looking at our competitive landscape, you could say that on one hand we have global or at least international wholesalers offering a very wide portfolio of products and a complete logistical solution for their customers. On the other hand, we have smaller, often much smaller, niche distributors. They have a more specialized product offering, a much more narrow product portfolio, and often they work solely with distribution, meaning they represent 1 or 2 or maybe even 10 international manufacturers on their respective home markets. Alcadon Group is definitely a highly specialized niche distributor, with the addition that we also have these in-house developed systems with market-adapted solutions. That's the main difference. So, what are the market drivers of Alcadon? What affects us in the market? Well, if you haven't lived in a cave the last 10 or 15 years, you probably heard of Internet of Things or IoT. You heard about Industry 4.0, services on demand, the smart home, the smart factory. The implication of these megatrends are huge amounts of data. They are increasing every year. I think the last 5 years we've seen an increase in the Nordics of about 30% per year in the amounts of data generated. And in Sweden alone last year we had over 40%. This requires a good, solid, strong, reliable infrastructure, digital infrastructure. That means FTTH, it means a 5G rollout. What does this mean for Alcadon? Well, if you compare a 5G rollout, for example, with FTTH, normally for a mature market, you're talking about 2 to 6 times more fiber. If you compare it with 4G, you usually say for good coverage in 4G, you need about 25 base stations per square kilometer. With 5G, you need 400. Every base station needs fiber. So we're talking about huge amounts of fiber here. Great amounts of data also mean you need storage capacity. You often talk about the cloud or the cloud solutions when you talk about storage, but cloud solutions are actually data centers, physical data centers. We've been working towards the data center industry for a great many years, and we expect a high growth, a continued high growth globally in data centers, but especially in the Nordics, since we have a very favorable infrastructure for data centers. I've seen growth rates the next 5 years of between 40 and 100% a year. So we're talking about big numbers. The other part that affects Alcadon is the construction market, general construction activity. We are present in both renovation, new construction, and reconstruction. And reconstruction and renovation alone is more than half of the market. So that prevents a little bit of the cyclicality that you often see when you talk about the construction market and construction activity. We're also present across so many different types of properties. It doesn't matter if it's hospitals or railway properties or offices, schools, housing, industry. We are in most properties. Just looking at residential properties and housing alone, just in Sweden we have an underlying need of 50 to 90,000 dwellings a year the next 5 years just to support the current population growth. So this is a huge growth area as well for us. That was a little bit about the market drivers and what affects us in each business area. Looking at the ownership of Alcadon, we're proud to say that we have some well-known owners with a long-term view, and several of them have increased their ownership stake in Alcadon over the last few months, which we're happy to see. We must be doing something right. We're also happy to see that a lot of the employees of Alcadon owns shares in the company. As a CEO, that's something magical because you don't find it difficult to improve motivation in the company. Our board of directors, I think it's a very well-balanced board of directors. We have knowledge from the network infrastructure industry, from Alcadon itself through our chairman, Pierre Fors, but we also have significant knowledge in finance, acquisitions, in how to run large-scale industrial enterprises. So I think it's a well-balanced board of directors. Our group management, we've been around now for a few months. It's also well-balanced with almost 100 years of experience from data communication and the network infrastructure industry, which is quite a lot. We also have representatives from our major acquisitions, from both our geographical markets, and from other industries as well. So I would say that our group management team is also rather well balanced, with some people having been in Alcadon for many years. So how did we perform in Q1? We were, of course, affected by the pandemic, as most other companies. For us, demand wasn't affected at all, but we had some problems with the supply chain and postponed deliveries, which affected our sales. On the other hand, we see that with this pandemic and more people working from home, it's putting a pressure on the network infrastructure of all types of networks. And this makes decision makers in society understand that we need a strong digital infrastructure to support things like this and to support the future. During Q1, we exhibited stable sales. We reduced operating expenses by about 12%. That was part of the program that we launched in 2019 to improve the efficiency in the company. This led to a EBIT, or operating profit, growth of about 3%. We also improved our cash flow from last year by about 20 million compared to Q1 in 2019. We were severely affected by the exchange rate. The change there, especially in Norway, it cost us about 3.5 million SEK, and we made an analysis of how would our profit level have looked like if we did not have this exchange rate, or this currency effect. How it would look like then is that we would have solid gross margins, we would have shown over 30% operating profit growth, and we would have reached almost 10% in operating margin. I think what we try to show here is that the underlying performance of the company today is quite good, and it shows a glimpse of what you can expect in the future as well. Today we hold a solid financial position. We have a rather strong solidity. We improved our net profit margins. We worked a lot on our working capital management and managed to increase cash flow and reduce our debt position. So I would say that where we stand today is quite a solid financial situation, which is good for our plans for the future. Now, we have focused a lot this far, and we will focus still on it, on efficiency, managerial structure, cutting costs, improving net working capital management. We will continue to do so, but we will also move on to look more at growth initiatives. And I'll want to take a couple of minutes to discuss what initiatives we have today for growth. The first one is sales management, basically. We're talking about the structure and the expansion of our sales organization. We are bringing in more resources, restructuring the organization, adding resources especially to the sales support part of the organization. This usually have a direct impact on sales. The other part we work with, which is very important for us, is product development and product management. We focus here on adding resources, adding products, developing products for our own brands towards our existing customers, finding the low-hanging fruits. A very important initiative that has been going on for a few months already. We're also looking at where we are today. What existing segments do we have where we can find market growth and still hold a strong competitive advantage? We're trying to put together concepts, thorough concepts towards these customer segments to really reap the benefits of this market growth. And of course, we're looking to add new segments, customer segments, product segments. We want to stay as close as possible to our core competence as it looks today. One example of this is our partnership with Siemens Network Infrastructure, or industrial networks, that we launched during Q1. It gives us a partnership with a globally leading partner, of course, but an exposure to industrial automation and what is happening in that market that is becoming more and more connected over time. Very interesting for us, and we're looking to add more segments as well over time. Last but not least, acquisitions. Acquisitions is something that we worked on historically, and after the restructuring phase that we've gone through, we are more prepared than ever to start looking at acquisitions again. We have a strong pipeline. we have ongoing discussions. The pandemic, of course, tends to postpone a lot of these discussions when you can't sit down over the same table and have a good discussion over valuation, etc. But we expect to move on with acquisitions in the future as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Sonny, for the presentation. I have a few questions for you today.
Yeah.
So the market climate today is quite a hot topic as the pandemic has hurt a lot of companies. But you said that you were rather unaffected in the Q1 report. And can we regard your business as quite non-cyclical as you are tilted towards more infrastructure-like projects?
Yeah, I can say definitely when you work towards digital infrastructure, that's a nice market to lean towards in these times, which are difficult for everyone. Of course, we are to some extent affected by the supply chain problems, and we still will be a time in the future as well. But the underlying growth potential looks even better due to the pandemic. I would definitely say that, yeah.
Right. And there are several structural growth trends that you mentioned in your presentation. And could you elaborate a bit on the commercial side and what is going on within automation and Industry 4.0 and data centers, and how are you going to capitalize on this?
I think that the major thing we see here is that a lot of the sub-segments that we have within business area commercial are growth segments, like data centers, like industrial processes and smart factories. So we're definitely going to try to reap the benefits of that growth. That's something we're going to work on. But we also see other trends in all commercial properties, such as power over Ethernet, that is growing in importance. And we have a lot of people who keep up to date with the latest technological shifts in this market. And we're doing everything we can to reap the benefits of that, definitely.
So are you seeing this development in both Sweden and Norway and in most part the major cities, or are you seeing it
I would say
all over the place?
All over the place. It's both geographical markets and it's all types of properties. Of course, some properties are always way ahead. I mean, when you create a new school structure, usually it's not top of the line or state of the art, but in an office structure, definitely in data centers, of course.
All right. So, and if 5G is one of the growth areas that you mentioned,
yeah,
and you also said a bit, put it in comparison with the 3G, 4G, and FTTH rollout. So, what volumes could we expect here, and when are the volumes coming, for example?
You're asking a good question here, because the volumes should be really high. As I mentioned, 2 to 6 times more fiber. That's something that we've seen in other markets where you launched 5G to a higher extent than in Sweden and Norway. But I think an important question here is also during which length of time is it going to be rolled out? Normally a rollout could occur during 5 years or 8 years or even 10 years. And we still have a very good FTTH market. I think we still have a lot to do there. And what we hope to see is that 5G will start to pick up soon, while the FTTH market will also gain more resources and start to grow as well. Mm-hmm. So hopefully we will see those two grow in parallel the next few years. And who knows, if 5G is going to be rolled out over an 8-year period, we're probably going to see 6G before we see the end of 5G as well. So we want these technological shifts to overlap each other. And that has been the case historically, which would even out a little bit of the cyclicality that we've seen in Alcadon over the last 1 or 2 years.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting. You yourself started as CEO in 2019. And what did you see back when you started? You have done some restructuring in the organization. And what do you see today? How much have you accomplished, and what are you seeing forward in the organization?
First of all, I have to say, when I got in the company, I knew the company from before, and I knew they have very good reputation on the market. But I was amazed over the high degree of entrepreneurship that was instilled throughout the whole organization. That is, as a CEO, that's really difficult to implement in an organization. So I'm happy that was in place. What we did was we worked on improving the efficiency. We merged departments. We tried to make sure that we used the cost synergies from the acquisitions that we made and implement them in full. It was very good. We managed to reduce cost and maintain or even increase output. So that was a good thing for us to do. But we also worked on improving communication throughout the company to enable large-scale projects to run across departments and across our geographical markets. That has worked really well with our new group management team. Also, we worked a lot on working capital, of course, which you can see the last 2 quarters, we improved our cash flow quite a lot. And this is ongoing efforts that we will need to work on for the next 3 years to improve further. But now we're moving on more towards sales management and organic growth initiatives. We started already, but we have a lot more to do there.
All right. And you yourself come from an acquisition-oriented company, AdTech, from before. And you mentioned acquisitions as a part of your growth strategy ahead.
Yeah.
And what kinds of acquisition can we expect in terms of business area, size, or geography? Or you maybe entering new geographies? Or
we definitely look at new geographies and our existing geographies. Important to say here is that we look at acquisitions in all business areas. They are all part of our core competence. The more we venture outside of our current geographical markets, the more we want to stay with our core business. From a risk perspective, of course, and it's important for us to stay partly in our core business to actually reap the competence benefits of doing an acquisition. And we're looking at a large variety of sizes and types of business models in our acquisitions as it looks today.
All right, I see. Thank you very much, Sonny, for coming here and presenting today, and good luck with the company ahead.
Thank you very much.